The ignorant, alert, and suffering, the ignorant. I stared out the window of the truck as the man continued to drive to the gas station. My car was being pulled by the truck, as I had forgotten that I was running low on gas. I had to call in somebody to tow my car to a gas station, and once the man arrived, without preamble, he began tying my car onto his truck. The smell of smoke filled the air as the man held his cigarette out the window, not bothering to notice how uncomfortable I had gotten at the smell. At least he had the decency to puff the smoke out of the vehicle. We were currently paused at a red light. What seemed like a mall being constructed at my right caught my attention. Hyerio Mall. Opening September 24th. Biggest mall in America, signs with the same writing were plastered all over nearby stores, the only variance being the color and size. The sun was beating down on the workers as they dug around the construction site, sweat and exhaustion visibly present on all of them. Smoke from the machines hovering all over the streets. These days, it has been getting hotter. Summer was on its way, yes, but the heat was excruciatingly high. There was a girl in one of my lectures that passed out signs to the class now and then. They had some sort of warning, something about the world dying and overheating. She was labeled as the crazy kid in class, so everyone maintained their distance, except, of course, the other environmentalists around. They would convince the professor to postpone his lecture and talk about global warming, which he would more than gladly comply with whenever he was in no mood to teach. I never paid attention to them. All I wanted to do was finish university and find an easygoing job that pays well and relax. Not enter some sort of group that cleans trash all day. We had finally made it to the station, the man effortlessly placing my car down near the pump and leaving without so much of a goodbye. I didn't care. He did his job and I paid my debt. No communication is needed. I filled my empty car with enough gasoline for the bar to reach full capacity, sighing as the heat made its way towards my bones. I glanced at the store by the station, a big poster advertising a brand new ice treat that came out a few days ago. I decided that it's a good idea to try it out for the first time, so I entered the store and grabbed myself one. For some reason, all the lights were on even though the sun provided enough radiance. The sound of the AC, the freezers, and what I thought was a sports game playing from the old TV in the corner was the only thing echoing through the store. I thanked the cashier and stepped out to eat my dessert in peace, slowly licking the popsicle to its wooden stick. I glanced around the area and couldn't seem to pick up on any nearby garbage cans. So I headed towards my car to throw the wrapper and stick it into my cup holders. I began my journey back home, deeming this day too hot to do anything productive. Once I opened my window, the wrapper for the treat I had earlier flew out of it, causing me to mutter a few curses and signal an apology towards the car behind me. I sighed while waiting for traffic. Today's been too long. The alert. I bowed one more time towards the crowd. I wasn't going to give up. After all, it's our planet. I was invited to the latest meeting provided by our town. A few of my friends in the Mother Nature Club noticed the ongoing instruction for the new mall and were on the verge of exploding. Our protests for more solar power and less plastic waste are all going in vain. I have spent hours cleaning the side roads and trying to convince people in my lectures to help prevent this excessive waste. And I don't see any change. This heatwave we are going through, it's all because of global warming. Antarctica has lost 3 trillion tons of ice, ancient glaciers are melting, droughts are happening, and it's all because we are too selfish to take care of our world. What is it going to take for you to notice that our Earth is signaling for help? Signaling for us to find a way to let our Earth breathe? Is having hundreds of thousands of trees cut down a day making you happy? And for what? To make paper that you won't even get recycled? Why is the mall that is being built downtown needed? We have one in the next town over, and it's only 15 minutes away. Why won't you reinforce solar panels on all buildings? Because people will save money? That gas station down the road, the lights are on even though the sun is right there. Have you ever stopped on the highway and seen the amount of trash that is being thrown from cars? Gasoline is also a problem. Believe it or not. Electric cars exist. We just have to normalize them instead of gas cars. As humans, it's natural to be selfish. It's natural to not want to complicate your mind with tiny problems here and there. But those small problems will eventually become big. Big enough for
Xenia's wish. Some people don't believe in fairies or sprites, I can't blame them. Some people don't believe in something unless they have seen it. Although some people want to believe in things so hard that they make up evidence for it. I am Xenia of Dustlined, I am a student in misfortune management class. It's not the best job, but I get by. I got transferred over after screwing up wishes just to see the disappointment on people's faces. I always wanted to be a human, oblivious and arrogant to the world, not having to care about anyone but myself. But I was born a wish pixie in the garbage magic realm. All I wanted to do was rain havoc and destroy dreams, but I was born with the power to twist people's wishes if I pleased. To twist the innocence of a human wish is strictly against the pixie code, but I feel like I was born into the wrong skin. I belonged in the misfortune department, throwing pain and obstacles at people. It might be so they can grow and develop, but seeing the pain and misery does something to me. I laugh at others' pain and feed on tears. My therapixie says that I live out these fantasies because I have a hole inside my heart that is numb to every emotion but pain and anger, and that's why I get a kick out of the anger of others. It fuels my emptiness so I can feel something. I laughed in his face and left. That shrimp doesn't know anything about me, he had no right to try to rile me up. He was a therapixie, not a riot pixie. I never really fit in with the happy, rainbow shooting out my butt club. It honestly got on my nerves. In all my years of pixie school, I was left alone. Once I have deemed a wish pixie through their special testing, everything went downhill. I was told I had to be happy and protect the innocence of the wishes I was giving. It was a load of moth poop. I could grant a wish just fine, just because my attitude turned the wish sour down the line wasn't my fault. The human let my attitude affect them. I've been a sad pixie my whole existence. If they forced a human to be happy when they were sad, they would resist it too. Sitting in class made my head spin. I hated it here. How can pixies think they can force their ideas on others and force them to see things their way? I, for one, have never looked on the daisy side of things, whatever that was supposed to mean. But if I wanted to work again, I had to sit through these classes and pretend I was making an epic turnaround. So class, if the human was to wish for happiness and fortune, what would the best action be? Mississippi Catterfield sat on her stool and patted her pet ladybug. I stared holes into its blank little eyes. There was nothing behind the dead beady eyes, and I knew it for a fact. Pixies just thought they were cute. Viria Butterwood's hand shot up and I rolled my eyes. Talk about a teacher's pet. Mississippi Catterfield gave her a nod and Faeries stood up and nodded back before turning to the class with a massive smile on her face. The best course of action is to arrange them to meet a life partner and have them build a family together. His happiness will then push him to build a career for the prosperity of his family. Viria sat back down on her stool. I couldn't help myself and stand up. Why can't the human be happy on their own? Why do we always have to pair them up? The human could find its life passion and pursue its career and be happy with itself and maybe a cat. It doesn't need a family to be happy. I clenched my hands so I didn't fly off on a tangent about their family-oriented and old-school ways. Well, you see, Xenia. Most humans need and crave the love of another human, so we bless them with companionship and hope. Miss Catterfield's eyes were ice sharp enough to cut through my wings. But some don't. Companionship can be with an animal too. I stood on my stool and crossed my arms. I was probably going to be sent home, but I didn't care. I had to make a point and stand for the wishes of the humans that didn't fit their definition of the perfect wish. Animals don't live nearly as long as humans do. It would be ridiculous for them to only want the companionship of an animal that is going to die long before them anyway. Mississippi Catterfield stood forcing her ladybug off her lap. It laid down on the floor and continued to stare blankly into space. Some humans have no interest in other people. Have you been listening to everything that is happening out there? There are humans with no desire to procreate. Some of them are even afraid of the outside world. So why should we use our magic to force them to change their minds? I felt my blood boil. I hated everyone here. I took off and flew away from the cluster of pixies on the oak branch. Showing myself out before being asked to leave felt like a power move, but I knew that the Empress would visit me later today. Once I got home I cleaned off my feet. I hated humans, but I hated my fellow pixies.